guys, LongHaul Larry. Boss has some projects. Well, let's say the boss's wife has got some projects. She has this mirror here and a little sign there and stuff, and she wanted me to paint these up. And she wanted them to break gold, and I'm actually heading over to their house and gonna be mounting these up. And then I gotta take some measurements for another project. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm gonna be building something pretty crazy. You guys will see. I'm a trucker, a truck mechanic. Now I'm a decorator, and I'm gonna be a construction person too, I guess. And you guys will have to see what that's all about. It's kind of crazy. I'm gonna actually be building it here in the shop and then transporting it over to their house, but there's gonna be a lot of testing going on and everything else. So, well, you guys, we are back in the shop today, and no trucks. I am actually a carpenter. See by all the mess and stuff. I am actually designing and building something, not for me, not for the boss. I'm working for the boss's wife. I don't know if you've ever heard of something called a water wall, but that's what I am designing and making. And it is not going to be small. It's going to be a big one. I'll show a picture here. And you can see there they make them, and it's basically almost like a waterfall you can have inside your house. It runs down the wall, makes a nice calming water effect and everything. But that's just a little one. And there's videos on YouTube and stuff about making a gigantic water wall and all this stuff. Nah, this is a gigantic water wall. I want to show you what I got going on here. So the water wall is actually going to be 137 inches long. That is humongous. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the base of it built today. I'm trying to get this done because I need to fiberglass something, and I need to make a tank basically. What I've done here is I've made these frame members out. I have no idea how to do this or what to do, and I'm just kind of going on the fly here. But what I'm going to do is I have made these, which are basically the frame members, and these are going to sit just like that, except they're 2-foot spacing. And this side is going to go up against the wall, and there's going to be another 2x4 here, and this will be all screwed together. And then what's going to happen is I am going to be putting I just thought of something as I was doing this. I'm going to be doing this, and then I'm going to be lining, there's some plywood sheets over here. They're 1/4-inch plywood sheets. Right here. And I'm going to be cutting these to lay down inside of here. There's going to be down the sides, coming here, and then down on the bottom. And this is the first one, and the depth on here is like 7 inches deep, so the trough is going to be about 6 3/4 inches deep. And I put a little 45 just for the water runoff, to, you know, when it goes in there, make sure it goes in. And then I'm going to be putting plywood all inside here, and then I'm going to be laying fiberglass on the inside of here and fiberglassing all this and letting this all dry and everything. And this will be the base for the water wall. This part over here will be up against the wall, and when this is all done with, this is going to be drywalled, and it'll be drywall here and here. And there'll be a wall that's built off of here that will be 1.5 inches out on the bottom, and what's going to happen is it'll actually be 1.5 inches once I put the or 2 inches once I put the drywall on it. And then there'll be a wall built up here, and then there's going to be some end caps on it, and then there's going to be a box built up on the top too, and there's going to be a drain that will be at the end of it underneath here, and this will come out and go into a garage, and then we're going to put a pump outside, and then the pump will pump the water back up to the top, and I'll have a tube up there with a bunch of holes drilled in it, and it will let the water flow down the wall. And they're going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be doing it or not, but they're going to be tiling all the wall and stuff. And then I plan on also putting like a wire mesh over the top of this, where this is, and then they're going to lay rocks, like polished rocks, a whole row of polished rocks over the top of this. So as the water comes down over the wall, it'll kind of wash through those rocks, go back down inside here, collect in here, has a drain back to a pump, back up to the top, and it'll be water circulating, and the water will just be running down the wall, just be flowing. I don't know. I keep asking them, why am I doing this? But this is what they want me to do. The wife they bought this house that they have her now, and I guess when they looked at it, this was the idea that she got, that this room was going to have a water wall. And I've seen them online, and they're like 3 feet, 2 feet. I've even seen one as big as 4 feet, or almost 12 feet here, guys. It's going to be as long. I just have it sitting close, grouped together because of that bigger board hold and everything. But it's going to be from the end of this 2x4. That's how big the wall is. And plus the drywall on the outside of it makes it another inch bigger. So it's pretty crazy. It's going to be big. It's going to be very big. Well, guys, there we go. We have our base built. So if you can kind of see, this side over on this side here will go up against the wall. And then there'll be a wall that's built up, and it'll have like tile on it. So it will overhang this lip here about 1 inch. And it's kind of a trough that I've built in there. And this here, up here, will be drywall. I'll put the mold proof drywall up in there. And then the front, the sides, and the bottom will be all drywalled in too. I'm going to be doing the fiberglassing of this. I've taken this over to the boss's house, and we've put it in there, and it's going to work. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is laying this fiberglass cloth down in here and fiberglassing all this to make basically a waterproof deal. There is going to be something sprayed over the fiberglass to help seal it. It's going to be like a rubber coating. So it's going to be fiberglass, almost just the same way as a bathtub is built. You know, they just use this, fiberglass, and make a mold and fiberglass it, and then they usually spray a paint over the top of it, a sealant over the top of it, and that's what you get your finish with. But we don't really care about the finishing, just that it holds water and doesn't leak. Well, guys, it is time. It is time to make a bathtub. There we go. There's nothing to be pretty about here. We're just coating. guys, I think that's pretty good. First coat on there. Tomorrow morning I'll just shave it all off, the overlap part of it, and put another coat on it before I leave. But that should do the trick. Well guys, I'm working back on this water wall. I've been kind of off on this thing for a while. I've actually been working on and off with it and everything. And I built a base of it for a box that the water's going to sit in. I fiberglassed it. Then the boss was saying something about spraying it with Flex Seal to seal it up. Wasn't a huge fan of it, mainly because it's an infomercial for a reason, you know. And it's not great stuff. It's not going to be something that's going to last forever. I mean, yeah, you get a seam in your gutter that leaks or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it works for that. But for something that's going to be permanent in your house, it's just not going to work. But I sprayed it and stuff, lined it with that Flex Seal stuff, and then I actually put water into it, and I let it sit for a little bit, and there was a leak. Went back, tried to patch it, put a whole bunch more Flex Seal in there, tried it again, let it sit, still a leak. And it sat for probably half a day, but then there was a little tiny bit of leak, and it's like, you can't have any leak. I mean, this stuff is just not going to last. I think what was happening is the bottom of the box is square, and the fiberglass and everything it wasn't molded perfectly in the corners, so there was like a little air gap in there and stuff like that, and I'd spray the stuff in there, and then I'd fill it with water, and that thing's going to hold like 25 gallons of water. And I put all the water in there, and it crunched that down, it weighted it all down in those corners, I think, and it cracked it, because when I would drain it, you could actually see cracks down in the corners. You could see where the Flex Seal stuff, where the fiberglass cracked apart and the Flex Seal wasn't there. So I think that's what's happening. We've talked about it, had many discussions about it and everything. This thing is huge, guys. But we've had many discussions and everything else. The wife just wants it done. Everybody else is just like, ugh, you know, it's so big. But what we've decided, the real way to do it is to make an actual pan that's going to sit down inside there and have it all welded up and everything. And really the only way to do that is with aluminum. We've actually went to a welder, went to a professional welder out here and stuff like that, showed him the project, told him I needed him to do this for me, and he was like, I'm busy. I'm going to be probably 2 to 3 weeks out. And I said, well, what's your estimate on costs? And he was going on probably 15 to 20 hours to make this pan. He's like, you know, $87 an hour plus materials, because you can go anywhere around $1,500 probably. I took that back to the boss, and they were like, whoa. I've actually been looking at welders, and because to weld aluminum, it's nice to have a TIG welder. A TIG welder is a proper aluminum welder. I've been looking around, and I've actually been talking to other companies about being sponsored with this YouTube channel. And I hate doing this. I really hate this whole part of it and stuff, but I thought I would do it, and I thought I could make cool videos and test welders for you guys and stuff like this. And I thought, I want to be an affordable welder. Because, yeah, you can go with the Miller or Esca and all this stuff. You can go all these brands of stuff. I mean, you're talking, you know, thousands of dollars. The everyday person is not going to have that. Is not going to get that welder. You know, maybe somebody is just looking for, you know, doing a few projects or something like this, and would like to find maybe a $600 welder. You know, that can do all the job, but it's not going to be industrial, but it's going to be able to last them, and they can build stuff on a garage, do whatever they want. So I've been contacting companies, and one of them, I don't know if I would mention the name or not. I don't know. I thought there was a deal made. It was not that great of a discount, but I'm whatever. I don't expect to get everything for free or nothing because of this YouTube channel. And it sounded like it, but then the guy disappeared. And I couldn't get him to give me the code to do it. And I actually contacted a company. We got frustrated with it, and there was a company up in Pennsylvania. That's where they actually sell the products, is at a store up there. And I was going to drive up there and get this. and just pay full price. I didn't care anymore. And I actually called the store to see if they had it in stock, and it goes to a voicemail and says they're busy. Leave a phone number and we'll call you back. I left the phone number 5 times in 2 days just to see if they have the welder. Nobody calls me back. It's a pain in the butt. You go online and stuff, this company, it's got tons of bad press about their customer service and everything. And I ended up writing a strongly worded email to their customer service about it. They finally got back to me and says, oh, yeah, we see you haven't gotten responses, blah, blah, blah. We're so sorry about that. We don't know anything about a 20% discount. Here's a 15% discount. And then you go on there and look, well, they just put it on sale. I think it was like $49 off or something. And if you go on there and put it in the code, it won't work because it's a sale item now. I don't know. But now this other guy has gotten back to me finally and goes, oh, hey, here's your code. Let me know when you're going to do a video about it. I'm like, and I punched in that code too, and it won't give it to me because it's on sale. I don't know what to think of the whole thing. But we looked at the welder cost of it and everything, and I talked to the boss about it. TIG welding is the best way to do it. But I do have a spool gun at home on my Miller. He has this Harbor Freight Vulcan welder, which is working very well. We're very happy with this. I'm happy with this welder. It's working well. But they also make a spool gun attachment for this welder. And you can weld aluminum with a spool gun attachment. So that's what we're going to do. So I went and bought myself a 4x8 sheet of aluminum. And I'm cutting it into strips that are going to be bent in a pan shape. And that's what we're doing right now. So we're just working on doing this. So basically what I've done is I have a piece of angle iron here just for a straight edge. It's relatively straight, it doesn't have to be perfect. But I got it marked off where I'm going to cut it. And I actually brought out my Miller because I knew I was going to be doing this. Plus I got to make new ramps. Long story. But I got to do a bunch of welding and fabricating and stuff. So I decided to bring my Miller Spectrum 375 plasma cutter, and this thing works like a dream. So let's just get to cutting. Easy as that, guys. Well, I can't get sheets of aluminum long enough to fit inside this trough. It's almost 12 feet. So I had a 4x8 sheet. I cut it to the first piece of the width I wanted. And what I'm going to do is weld the 2 sheets together to make it the length that I want. But the problem is I don't want to do a butt joint. And if you don't know what that is, a butt joint is when you take 2 pieces of metal and you just put them together and then weld them. It's the 2 butts and then the piece of metal together. I kind of want to do an overlap. So because then basically you have 2 welds. Because there'll be the weld on the top. And what happens is basically, like this piece of metal laying here on the floor will be this sheet. It will be underneath here. And then this sheet will be on top. So you'll weld it here, then you can flip it over and weld it on the bottom side too. But I also don't want to have the hump in here. So what I'm going to try to do here is I cut a piece of this metal. They make special machines for this, little roller deals and stuff where you can make these creases and everything. What I'm going to try to do is take this piece of steel right here, and I have it 1/2 inch, so it'll be a 1/2 inch overlay. And I'm just going to try to make a crease all the way across. And I want it to be a 1/2 inch. Well, guys, I have been working on this, and I've been trying to bend this. I gotta bend it, make it into like a tub, basically. And this is what I came up with. I don't have a brake, a metal brake to do this. So I kind of made one out of here, out of a 2x6 and a piece of angle iron. Now I just put screws on each end, and I'm using the forklift. I think you guys even know that we have a forklift now. Don't believe that I've even mentioned it, but we have bought ourselves a forklift. Doing engine work and stuff. Need to have a forklift. Pull heads off trucks and everything. Got to have a forklift. So I have the lines on there. I'm just lining it up, even with the even with the 2x6 and right on my line. And then I just put it in like this. And I dropped the forklift out on it for pressure down. Just like so. And then start making my way down it. Let's get a little bit of finesse in a do. But I think you guys can see what I got going on here. inside of that frame member. I gotta bend the other one, and then I gotta do a bunch of welding to weld the two together. I gotta cut the ends, bend this up to make each end, and bend the 45s on here, and she's ready to go. It's gonna be a long process, but you guys watch the other video, you see how I bent these. Now I'm gonna put these together. So, well guys, we've gotten her all welded up, and I have her sitting here and she's full of water. And no leaks. So I'm actually going to let this sit. I got no water going on. I actually did have a leak on this end. There was the hole that was leaking. You can kind of see where I re-welded this right here. I ground it down and re-welded. You can see there's water right here. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Let's look at the camera's pointed over there. But there was a leak. I filled it out the first time I went over there, and there was a leak. And it's a small little leak, and so I dumped it back out, cleaned it all back up, re-welded it, and no more leak this time. But I'm going to actually let this sit overnight, and I want to make sure that it's going to be able to sit all night long and won't have any leaks before I go any further. So if I got to re-weld something, I'd rather do it now, you know. Well guys, this is a mock-up of the water wall. This is the final design that we have. I have the base all built down there and everything that holds the water. The pump is down there. We have this pump that's all electronically controlled. You can turn it higher, lower. You can make it a little bit of a drizzle. You can make it spray. But you kind of see it. I made this up. I came up with a couple different designs for the top pipe up here. And this one has a hole drilled every 6 inches to spray. And we're trying to see how the pattern is. I put like food coloring in the water so you can kind of see it and stuff. But we may put more holes in it. I don't know. But this is going to be the design so you guys can see what's going on. And then I'll go down here, and then see the front of this will be all drywall, and then there'll be a metal grate on top of that tub down there, and then they'll put rocks on there, and where this plastic is, that'll be a whole wall of tile that this water will run down. So, I don't know, it's pretty cool. It's not really my forte of things, but I figured it out. So now I'm gonna go and install it over at the boss's house. Well guys, we got the water wall installed. It's all drywalled in, and and I got all the cement board stuff up for the tile and everything else. Thinking about tiling the whole thing, but you can see what we got going on. This thing's huge. It's hard to get the full scope of it, but there's the tub and everything going in. The pump is back there. There's a hose that runs up, and then there's a pipe up here that's got holes all on it. You're gonna lay tile up on here, and when you turn it on, the water's just gonna run on down, and it's gonna go drop back into that tub, back over to the pump, go back around. And then I got holes over here for a controller, and you'll be able to control how much water, how fast it pumps, everything else. So it's pretty much installed, and I think they want me to get out of their house because I made it into a disaster zone. So there you guys can see it all. It's all mold resistant drywall on the outside of it. That's not going to be near the water. Cement board on the inside, and then the tile. But they're talking about doing a black kind of slate looking tile or something. I don't know. There's been change of minds going on. Well, guys, there it is. There is the water wall. 99.9% complete. It is all put together. The butt's got to just vacuum up and everything. There's dust around and stuff. And there's got to be a metal grate in the bottom of there. But having a bit of an issue. This is just a control box. And I just have to drill some screw deals, and then that'll sit right there. That controls the pump, so you can turn it up or down. But we turned it on and tested it, and it's got a little bit of an issue. Like right here, the water comes down the wall and it kicks off and it sprays out onto the floor. It drips out on the floor. There, and I think there was a spot over here too. It kind of kicks out. There's a couple of spots. So I have to go back trucking, and the boss man, he is going to fill all this in, because this is the way usually you grout, and then you come back with a sponge and you take a little bit out, but these little divots are making the water kick out a little bit. So he's going to actually fill this in with grout and make this all smooth, so it's a smoother surface, and we're going to try that. And but it's pretty nice looking. All the brickwork and everything. And all those panels of Matata, as the boss's idea last. I was just going to put all that up there and then attach it in and it'll be there permanently, but he actually has it in. There's 3 panels, and that can all come off. That way we can get to it and service something up in there. Well, we got all these LED lights and everything. They pivot and stuff. You can turn them, and they're on a dimmer that's out in the garage. And then it's a smart dimmer. He has it hooked up to an app on his phone, so he can control them. But I gotta go back trucking, so I'm out of here. So I hope everybody is having themselves a great day, great night. So watch this here video, and if you're not, listen to her and just try it all over again tomorrow. See ya.